This episode of Bullet Heaven was made possible by Hucast.com. Man, Sega's little white box just won't die, will it? It was supported in Japan long after its demise in North America, but even then the final licensed games were released all the way back in 2007. On the indie side of things though, several small devs are still making games for Sega's zombified system. Hailing from Hanover, Germany, Hucast is leading the charge with new games being released for the Dreamcast and other systems such as the Neo Geo, with new titles being released even later this year.
One such release is the DUX 1.5 Collector's Edition. While DUX 1.5 is hardly a new release, it was released in several different packages as far back as 2012. The Collector's Edition of DUX 1.5 has the exclusive DUX 1.1 as part of its 4-disc set, which is limited to only 300 copies. Both DUX 1.5 and DUX 1.1 themselves are rebalanced fixed versions of the original DUX, which could be seen as the greatest love letter to R-Type ever written. But how does it play? Let's take a closer look.
Spend even a minute playing DUX 1.5 and you can tell that R-Type has heavily influenced a little more than just its design choices. The stages scroll a little slower than many other shooters with enemy speed to match. Bullet patterns are thoughtful and a little challenging without the need for Danmaku. And of course, an invincible 4-style bit can be launched as a weapon and fixed to either the front or the rear of the DUX.
The controls in DUX are equally similar to its obvious source material, which means that your ship's rate of movement and control overall is as solid as R-Type ever was. Even the weapons harken back to Iron's classic series. Players have 3 different types of weapons at their disposal, including linear shots, reflecting lasers, missile sub-weapons, and of course, a charge shot to deal heavy damage. You can also grow your force bit and missile count with subsequent pickups of each type.
Now that's not to say that DUX borrows its entire structure wholesale from R-Type. After all, it does have a few neat tricks up its sleeve. For starters, it's possible to change the direction that your sub-weapon missiles fire. Simply pressing B will change the missile direction from forward to vertical, allowing for stuff directly below and above to be destroyed more easily.
But that's not even the only nifty ability the DUX has. By pressing the R trigger, a bullet eater ability can be enabled. This will suck in and neutralize bullets so long as there is power to keep it going, indicated by a pink gauge in the bottom left-hand corner under the shot gauge. Absorbed bullets charge it up slightly, and pink pickups will greatly increase the power stock as well. You can also launch your force bit with the bullet eater engaged, though it makes your ship pretty vulnerable if you're not careful. On a good run, it's possible to be totally safe from enemy shots for long periods of time.
All of these cool features mean that any player is well enough equipped to make some serious progress in the game. The 1.5 version of DUX fixes a lot of stuff from the first release of the game, including some nasty bugs, difficulty rebalancing, and the ability to respawn on screen without having to go back to the previous checkpoint. The checkpoints in DUX 1.5 applies only to continuing when your life stock is exhausted. All of these changes apply to DUX 1.1 as well. To this end, it could be seen that DUX 1.5 is a bit on the easy side, especially compared to the difficulty of the first game.
On the one hand, this makes DUX very approachable to novices who want the R-Type experience without the R-Type difficulty. On the other, it'll be very easy for experienced schmuppers to 1cc DUX 1.5, especially given the glut of 1-up strewn across the game's 6 stages. It's entirely possible to end Stage 1 with 7 lives.
The only real thing that stands out as kind of a drag are the end stage bosses. By and large, they leave a bit to be desired, as they're all very similar with perhaps the exception of the second stage boss. Regardless, the core gameplay in DUX 1.5 and subsequently 1.1 is solid with enough gameplay to leave players satisfied, and if nothing else, there's always the chase for a high score. Granted, the scoring in Dukes isn't especially well defined, and seems mostly hinged on enemy destruction and bullet absorption, whether your bullet eater is engaged or not.
There is also a very sizable bonus at the end of each stage that adds to the tally for your score. However, there's no real indication of what the stage and bonus includes. It's just kinda there.
On the whole, Dukes 1.5 and 1.1 are pretty shallow when it comes to their scoring with no fancy chains or multipliers. This lends more to the novice-friendly nature of the game, which means newcomers can focus more on survival, but veterans may want more. Now, if it's presentation you want, Dukes 1.5 delivers something fierce. The 2D visuals here are bright, clear, and vibrant. There's also a ton of parallax at play here too, so the backgrounds really pop, especially in Stage 2, 4, and 5.
There's a ton of super smooth animation all over the place too, even on the huge stage end bosses. Little robots will walk along with a smooth gait, and the amount of color in it all, especially Stage 5, can really make a player go,
"Damn." But then there's the sound. While the sound effects and balance are all pretty good, it feels as if there should be more. Granted, this lack of sound allows for more emphasis on the amazing soundscapes composed by Andre Newman. The Dukes 1.5 Collector's Edition comes packaged with the complete OST for both Dukes 1.5 and 1.0, so you never have to be without some terrific music.
This brings us to the final point for Dukes 1.1, being that Dukes 1.1 is still just Dukes 1.5 from a gameplay standpoint. The only difference between the two is the OST, which is vastly different and gives the game a very different feel in the end. Of course, as we all know, a good OST can really make or break a game, and we're sure a lot of people probably wish the old 1.0 soundtrack could be married to the new updated version 1.5. 1.1 does this.
In the end, it all works out to make the Dukes 1.5 Collector's Edition the one you want to get if, by some stretch, you somehow haven't picked up any of the Duke series for your Dreamcast. But how does this stack up? Let's take a look. The Dukes can navigate the playfield fairly handily, even if it's a bit on the slow side.
Controlling your weapon systems feels natural and well thought out.
The low difficulty of Dukes 1.5 makes it a pretty easy game for veterans.
Novices will love the scaled-back difficulty. Also, no checkpoints. Yes!
At 6 stages, Dukes 1.5 is long enough with fairly lengthy stages.
The shallow scoring of Dukes 1.5 makes the length suffer a bit, though.
Clear, colorful, and pretty neat looking, Dukes 1.5's visuals are pretty slick indeed.
Some of the animation is ridiculously smooth here, and everything runs at a solid pace.
The fantastic OST from Andre Newman is bliss.
The scaled-back sound effects means the music shines right through.
This is an unabashed R-Type tribute if there ever was one, yet the new tricks employed make it stand apart from IRM's classic shooting series.
The missile toggling and bullet-absorbing mechanics work really well.
The Dukes 1.5 Collector's Edition has all kinds of great stuff for shooting fans and Dreamcast aficionados alike. Even though both Dukes 1.5 and the exclusive Dukes 1.1 are largely the same, having the choice of playing either one with the soundtrack of your choice is neat, and rare. Only 300 of these exist. In the end, the Dukes 1.5 Collector's Edition gets a 4 out of 5. The Dukes 1.5 Collector's Edition is available now for just shy of €90. It includes exclusive special cover art, Dukes 1.5, the exclusive Dukes 1.1, mini art book, and the Dukes 1.0 and 1.5 OST discs, all with special disc art at Hucast.com. With quantities being this extremely limited, if this package interests you, the sooner you get it, the better.